Welcome to We Use Our Powers for Good. I'm Dory, and this is my sister, Meg.
Meg.
Today we're going to be talking about hierarchies. That's a very complicated word for power imbalance. And I have to be honest with you, in most cases, power imbalances don't feel good, right? So we're going to kind of share some experiences about what that means and then talk about how to break them down. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Okay. um, So the first example I have is our older brother who just passed away. She's like, oh, I say that because now I'm going to say something about him that's not. He always fucking had to be right, and he always won. It didn't matter if we were playing a game. It didn't matter if we were eating dinner, and he got to pick the first brownie, which you knew he would always take the biggest one. Everything that we did, he had to win or be right, and it was all about control, and it never felt good. His story had to be better. He was faster. His car was nicer. Always. Like, you could literally have landed something and moved on, and he's just got a quick, right? But that's one way that that can look. Do you have an example?
Not off the top of my head.
What's your pain one?
Oh, the pain. Yeah.
Pain.
So yeah, another type of hierarchy. I find. Well, there's several then. Traumas. And I notice right now, especially a lot of my girlfriends, I love them dearly, and my people make me who I am, help me make me who I am. But I've noticed since Jerry died, there was hesitations in sharing what they're going through.
Mm.
I mean, it's not what you're going through, but this is my story right now. And I'm like, there's no hierarchy to
You're
trauma or
allowed to
pain.
have your story.
Yeah, and also I don't want to feel like I'm on some little pedestal island floating out here because my pain's the most.
Right.
That's not real.
Because if that was the case, when your brother kills himself, you're there.
Right.
And then no one would ever be able to talk again.
Right.
Right. That's not real.
Right.
Right.
And then also physical pain.
Right.
So, yeah, when I was talking about my migraines, and although in that moment, actually, the moment of knowing, also it was Bry's only had one migraine,
Right.
and I've had
500.
500.
Right.
But like what again? That's a power thing.
Right. And it's interesting because like in an example, you're sharing something and then I'm saying something. If I'm not paying attention, like, well, or you and I'm more, like if I talk about my brother, um, there's a part of understanding, like if I feel myself get all riled up when I'm talking to someone, it's like, what just happened there? Right?
You're not listening.
It's like, oh, I'm not listening. So, like before in the last episode, you're sharing your experience about just your migraines and different things. I just want to touch on this as an example. Like, what the fuck am I going to say to you? Like, I can't fix that or change that. So it makes more sense that I've just listened.
Right.
Right? No, but there is a part of the culture that we're trying to fix things or it's okay. Oh my God. We could do a whole thing on like, don't look at me when I've had something happen and go, it's okay. It's not. And also, you don't get to decide that. You don't need to fix or correct this. I didn't ask you for help. Bop, 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 bop. Point though is that often the best tool when someone is struggling, if I feel myself wanting to compare or share a story, is for me just to take a deep breath and listen.
Yeah.
And be supportive. And then when you're done talking, this is a huge learning for me. I don't have to say anything except I love you. I'm here. Thank you for sharing that. And then, do you need anything? And then we could sit here for a bit in silence, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Point though is if I feel myself getting escalated, then I want to redirect and look at why it's like, oh, I'm trying to, I'm trying to rise you out.
Totally.
Right.
One up you.
Right.
Which isn't that a narcissistic?
What? I mean, that's what? Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But I also think well, if this doesn't apply to you, but this is what occurs to me. I think it's also a way that people get their needs met, right? It's like, so that I was trying to explain to my kids, I don't use this word, but this is the word that I grew up with is like, you're just looking for like a tap or a stroke. Like, oh, good job. Oh, bad job. Well, that still was a tap or that was still an interaction, right? That not everybody's going to get positive interaction, so they're just looking for an interaction, right? Right. So if I one up you, or I share a better story, or I'm faster, then I got a moment of, right? And I think it's part of that.
It's that to me sounds just workplace. Like I think of all these corporations. Like, is that workplace conversation?
I think it's part of the culture. I think it's part of the natural dialogue if we're not careful, right?
Right.
And I think it's also contextualizing, you know how I like that word. I think it's contextualizing that an actual conversation is someone talking and finishing their thought.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's just listening, right?
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is being aware when we're wanting to jump in. How about don't? And then this just occurs to me while I'm saying this. I think sometimes we might do that because I'm uncomfortable with what you're saying, right? Oh fuck, she's talking about her headaches and migraines and that's really real. And then she's making this connection to Brian. Like I feel that feels uncomfortable to me. Oh, you sit there and just feel that. This is not about you.
But in that, do you think it's you're supposed to have a response?
Well, if I quick fix it, it's okay. Right? So in another life, right? Meg, it's okay. Stop. It's okay. Right?
Yeah.
I would have stopped and shut that shit down the minute that I could see the tears coming, right? I would have shut it down because I don't want to feel that, right? So that's kind of a whole other way that the hierarchy can work
Yeah.
is observing yourself. It's like, oh, just soon as I get rattled.
Right.
Why? And
Because we
this,
want to stay with light and fluffy. Is that
I don't know. But I think that I
because
think
I do know that's normal.
yes. I watch this in my kids as I teach them things. I don't think we're taught how to do that.
And is that's the bottling up?
Yeah.
Even though it's not your story.
Because imagine, Meg, what am I going to be all vulnerable with you? And then you're going to do this and go clean the kitchen? You're going to not have validated me. I'm left drowning and didn't even get to finish my story.
Right.
Right? No. Whoop. If you put a cap on that,
That's it.
that's it. Okay, so being
Barf.
being but being intentional. But this then begs this question. Whoever you're talking to, so let's say you want to start to practice this with someone, you both possibly have to have agreements together. Like, this is what I would love. This is an example. This is what I would love. I would love to share this whole story with you. And I literally just want you to listen to me.
Could you shut the fuck up while I speak?
No, because I remember when mom died, and this is like pre-texting and um, my friends are like, "What can I mean?" No one, honestly, at that, this is in my 20s. No one knew what to do, right? So how about we use when I was divorcing? That's better because there was texting and
You
stuff.
were almost 30 when mom died, though.
No, but because there wasn't, none of my friends had tools. None of my friends had tools, and neither did I in my late 20s. To be like, oh, what do you need? Can I make you a meal? Can I, right? No, there's no tools. When I divorced, and I could be really clear and specific about what my needs were, which looked like I literally am accepting two emojis for support. I don't want your questions. I don't want your, and then people were able to do that. So then we don't have to do because we don't have agreements between us, right? In a stressful situation, we have to ask for some agreement ahead of time. Hey, I want to share this with you. I want to practice some new tools.
Yeah.
Right? Could you legit just listen to me? Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Could you just listen to me? And then when I'm done, then just say, and this, I say this to clients a lot. Literally tell them to say exactly what you want to hear. Will you say to me, thank you for sharing that? Or that was really brave of you, right? But I say that because I think that people don't have a context for this, and that it makes sense if they're going to practice some of this stuff, they have to have someone that they have agreements with. Otherwise, you're going to get the same ridiculous response of, "Oh, you're fine. Let's go have dinner. Oh, this is heavy."
Totally.
Right? Which just ends up feeling like crap. When really, at the end of the day, we do want to connect more.
Yeah.
Right? My kids don't want less hugs.
Right.
We
Right.
want more connection.
Right.
Right.
And you're so good about that. You
Yeah.
have learned to know what you need.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
where would be a good place to start for someone who has none of this?
Right. I think it looks like that's a great question. I know for sure, like, let's say I said 300 things. Whatever thing you heard us say that's stuck in your head, that's important to you. And that's different for each person, right? And then in that thing, if it's like, oh gosh, I would love to explore actually listening to someone,
Right.
right? And you might say, hey, Meg could be my friend. I'm going to practice this skill of just listening to you. Would you tell me a story? And I'm literally going to just focus on hearing what you're saying. And then when you're done, I'm going to thank you. and then I would like you to do the same thing for me, right? So you kind of like a role playing.
Yeah.
I think though that we have to ask someone to do it with us, kind of like permission, and
Yeah.
then we do need to set some ground rules.
Right.
Right.
And also, tears are okay.
Yes, and tons of grace and flexibility because you're not going to get it right the first time. I don't know if you've heard Meg and I say this. We have done some of these, doing this work for, in my case, 30 plus years. You're 10 years younger, 20 plus years. You're not going to do something once and figure it out. You're not going to do it 8 times and you've got it nailed, right? Our brother fucking literally killed himself in October, and all my tools got squished right out of my whole body, and I had to start over. Some of these things might be hard for a long time because we've never seen them done before.
Yeah.
Right? And being uncomfortable is okay. And someone not liking that I'm being different is okay.
Yeah.
People are going to work really hard to try and make you be the same so they can be the same. It's okay to stir that all up, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's okay to let others go if they can't meet you there.
Right. Oh my gosh. We do a whole episode. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, you feel yourself get like this when there's this going on. If you can, try not to do this because it doesn't feel good. And when you start to do this, you just take a step back and either just take a deep breath and go, hold on a minute, can we just take a step for a second? I take a breath. Okay, keep talking, and then you kind of switch gears and move into a listening mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, would make a ton of sense.
I love that.
I love that too. I love that for you.
It's true though. Listen.
Okay, so thank you for being with us today. And if you'll like, share, subscribe, and then let us know if you think this is doable. If it's doable that you could grasp onto one thing and just start to practice with someone, just comment below.
Also, if you have any ideas on how would someone start to become an active listener.
Maybe by talking less.
Yeah.
But thanks for being here with us.
Bye.
Bye.